Got cool that they don't like to see you winning. They wanna see you in a penitentiary. I leave me a little baby who gon' listen. Girl, I don't wanna be the one you again. My mama told me, boy, make a decision.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Clutch Talk podcast /YouTube/ We Do It All. As always, I am your host, John. Very, very, very happy to be here. Junior, my brother, what it is, baby, what's up?
Yo, I will now be referred to as Nostradamus, so please just refer to me as... No, I'm just kidding. It's a 50-50 chance. No, what's going on, man? Excited for this recap. Season's finally done. Lakers are no longer the reigning champions. I know Jhill is celebrating. So we're here. Excited to get this pod going. Jhill, what's up with you?
Yeah, man, it's always a bittersweet moment when a champ's crowned. Been through that moment recently enough times as a Warrior fan, so it's a good feeling. Congrats to the Bucks fans. But yeah, it's sad that the season's over. But I mean, what a crazy ending, man! Great season this year. Great season.
Man, what a great season, guys. You know, cheers to the NBA champion. Cheers to Giannis. You know, finally got him one, man. So real happy for him. So, guys, today what we got here is these game six takeaways, and for everyone that is listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we are right now actually live on Spotify Green Room, and we have Jay in our room here. What's up, Jay? You were here in our last Green Room, so we're happy to have you back. And yes, guys, so we got a Spotify Green Room going here. Jay said the Kardashian curse lives on.
Yes, it does.
He's not wrong, though. He's not wrong.
For real, Jay. Hey, Jay, we're happy to have you back. All right, guys. So this week we got we just witnessed the end of the NBA season, man. It like how Jhill said, man, definitely bittersweet. You know, we're happy to know who the 2021 NBA champion is, but man, now we coming into the worst time of the year, man. No basketball. No basketball, so very dry. But
lots of off-season action coming up, though.
Lots of off-season action,
NBA
man.
keeps us busy all year long.
Especially from us over here at Clutch Talk. So make sure that you guys follow up and tune in for every episode that we got coming in through the off-season. We got a lot of team guest interviews coming up, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that, man. But we'll talk about the offseason later, man. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Let's talk about this historic performance we just witnessed from Giannis Antetokounmpo. Way to make me look crazy, Giannis. Last episode, I was talking about Giannis might not be a 1A. I'm looking crazy now, man, because he just put a historical performance, man. 50 points, 14 blocks. 14 rebounds, 5 blocks, 94% from the free throw line. Yes, 94% from the free throw line, 64% from the field, man. The seventh player in NBA history to score a 50 burger in the finals, man. So, guys, I'm gonna be real with you. The way I set up my notes when I take the game is, you know, I take away the positive and negatives from each individual team, and I don't have much to say for the Bucks, man. It's just Giannis Antetokounmpo, man. He had just one of those games where you can do everything that you want, man, but you won't be able to stop that, man. So, Jhill Jr., man, how are you guys feeling about this Bucks performance, but especially this Giannis performance?
Hell of a performance, man. I mean, we saw it from beginning to end. They were leading pretty much the whole game. I know they let it slip a little bit there in the second, but, you know, reasserted their dominance in the third. Actually went into the fourth quarter tied up, but really just took care of business when they needed to. Great on the defensive end. Pretty good on the offensive end as well. You know, I mean, at the beginning of the game, it was pretty bad offensively for both sides, but you know, they cleaned it up and they were able to, you know, get lots of second chance opportunities. I saw the Suns actually clean up a lot of their mistakes, which is why it was actually such a close game, despite D-Book kind of, you know, putting up not his usual D-Book numbers. So because of that, you know, I just have to give a lot of credit to the Bucks for being able to contain Devin Booker and contain the Suns and, you know, close out game 6. There was a statistic that I saw before the game that said in game sixes, teams that have the 3-2 lead and they're playing game 6 at home were 11 out of 11. So now that gets extended to 12 out of 12. Talking about streaks as well, Scott Foster extends his CP3 streak, and one more stat here. Every Antetokounmpo brother that's played in the NBA now has a ring. There's 3 of them. They all got rings.
Antetokounmpo is taking over.
I know. LeVar Ball is fuming right now.
LeVar jealous, man. But Jhill, what are some initial takeaways you had from this Bucks performance here?
First takeaway is simply I was wrong. I was wrong for doubting Giannis. He really. I mean, from game 1 where we really questioned. I mean, it was reasonable to question that 1A, 1B, and he just came out the next 5 games and just put on an absolute clinic, just dominating the games in ways we've never seen before a superstar really do. And just the level he was playing at, it really rubbed off on his teammates. And that was the story on the road in Phoenix and tonight as well. They just fed off his energy, his confidence. And it was just amazing to see really that turnaround from the first 2 games to game 6 tonight. It's just like a whole different team. They really figured out Phoenix. Giannis asserted himself as one of the top 3, debatable players right now in the league, to be honest. I feel like one's really up for debate right now. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, just Giannis, just not to take away from his performance, historical night, 50 plus, just doing it. And the Bucks fell off of it. And there was nothing really Phoenix could do to stop him.
Yeah, man, it really seemed like that out there. It really seemed like there wasn't anything that the Suns could draw up to even slow down Giannis out there. It was just feeding on both ends. But one thing that I do want to bring up that the Bucks did in particular well, that I thought that that as very well as a team when you can pull this off is they had full court pressure. All series they've really been pressing on Chris Paul and all over CP3. And something else, Junior, something that you've said many times throughout this series, and even on this pod, you've said many times that once the Bucks are able to get DeAndre Ayton in foul trouble, that opens up the floor to a whole different dimension, man, and that really allows the Bucks to be able to.
It's called Frank Kaminsky.
But hey, Frank the Tank was hooping out there today, man. Don't disrespect Frank the Tank.
He did play a lot better. I'm sorry for cutting you off. Keep going.
But yeah. So my question to you guys is that something that you guys notice as well? How did you guys feel about about them getting Aiden in foul trouble and that full court pressure? Is this something that you guys like to see from the Bucks end?
Obviously helped him a lot, but I will say though, DeAndre Ayton has progressively gotten worse each game. Like game 1, he played pretty well. Game 2, he played worse, and then it just kept getting worse each game.
Series.
Each series. That's true. Yeah, he was dominating quite well, when the playoffs started. But even if you look at just this series as a microcosm, he still just kept playing worse and worse each game. So it's tough to say. At one point, you were almost thinking like, man, maybe you do want to keep DeAndre Ayton out there because with Frank Kaminsky, at least they know he's not that guy. So they're just not going to feed him. You know what I mean? He'll just maybe clean up some things here and there. But DeAndre Ayton, if he's playing bad, but the team's still feeding him, it's almost a benefit there, right? So I definitely think it benefits them benefits the Bucks having DeAndre Ayton in foul trouble. But it almost was just a net neutral at that point because DeAndre just wasn't being his regular self.
Man, definitely. Yeah, I just want to give a quick shout out to Jay. Jay here said in the chat room that Giannis is so mentally tough that he stayed composed and made free throws when the Suns were going off in the second quarter. Man, Jay, that's crazy. That's something that I talked about right in the beginning of this pod is that the fact that Giannis went 16 for 17 from the free throw line, 94%. Like that is absolutely insane. So yeah, Jay, shout out to Giannis being able to stay composed, and we'll still do an episode on this finals MVP. So stay tuned for that. Have your ears peeled for that. But I mean, me and Jenna were talking.
He's against.
I was about to say, you know, it is tough to make a case against. You know, me and Jenna were talking about it in the middle of the game. We were like, man, Giannis kept them in the series when they were down those first 2 games. Giannis gave the Bucks hope. You know, so it's very tough for us to sit here and give it to anyone else besides Giannis, even though Chris Middleton is the closer on that team. Do you guys disagree? Would you guys want to give it to Chris Middleton, or is it to you guys they're going to Giannis no matter what?
To me, it's Giannis no matter what. What you think, Jhill?
Yeah, Giannis no matter what. I mean, he dominated the series on both ends of the floor, made his teammates better, he was getting assists at the beginning of the series when he didn't have it going offensively, like scoring the ball. So it's Giannis all the way, man.
Okay, yeah. See, Jay also agrees that he has Giannis 100%. Hey, Monty, go ahead. Let us know who you got winning the Finals MVP. Go ahead, let us know in the discussion chat room. But go ahead, Jenner.
No, I was gonna say, and we saw, you know, Chris Middleton really didn't show up for Game 2. Like Giannis was showing up every single game. He was putting up 40 points. They were losing. Like he was doing his thing. You know, like not that 40 points that lost me. He's doing his thing, but he was consistently putting up points. I mean, I think he averaged like 35 points a game over the series. That's pretty crazy. He had multiple 40 and 10 games as well. Like you do that, you got to win the Finals MVP.
Man, definitely. So, guys, we have to get to, I guess, the elephant in the room, the biggest elephant in the room, especially for me here. My guy that I've not gave up on, that me and Jhill, we were rocking on him in the beginning of the playoffs, but then Jhill jumped off the bandwagon early. He jumped off the bandwagon early, and I was left, man. I was left, and I bought low on the Devin Booker stock, guys. Devin Booker, what happened? We have to talk about the elephant in the room. Out of all the games, you know, he's putting 40-point games, 42-point games. You know, he's out there serving. He chooses not to show up this game. He chooses to have 19 points, 6 turnovers, only gets to the free throw line 3 times. So really didn't play nearly as aggressive as he needed to. Went 0 for 7 from the 3-point land and 8 from 22 from the field. So absolutely horrific performance. Junior, I know you were happy to see Devin Booker play this.
We're not gonna go that far. Like,
so Junior, how are you feeling?
I don't even want to bag on D-Book. So you already know my deal. Like, I felt like the Suns were a team that you know, they kind of just, I'm just going to go ahead and say, like, they lucked their way into the finals. I don't think they would have beat any of the teams that they played, the Clippers, the Lakers, and the Nuggets. I don't think they would have beat them healthy, any of those teams. But that's neither here nor there. D-Book's a star, but I do feel that maybe we propelled him into superstardom a little too early. Like, can we say that? We do talk about him, or some people do talk about him as kind of that Kobe disciple, but maybe look at Giannis, right? You remember Kobe challenged him to win MVP, he won. Then he challenged him to win a title, now he won too. You know, that's kind of mission complete right there. But D-Book is a star on his own. Of course he is. I can't deny that. But before the series started, I said he's not better than Giannis Antetokounmpo, and I stand by that. Giannis went out and did his thing, you know? Like, He realized where he wasn't good. Free throws, you got that taken care of tonight. You know, when it mattered, he showed up. And when it mattered the most, D-Book did. That's not to say that's, you know, I'm not going to say, oh, D-Book's horrible and he's a choker. It's his first playoffs ever, and he's like 24 or 25, right? Like, props to him to even get this far. But I can't put him in the same level as Giannis. He's maybe, like, I'd say he's like a tier below the Giannis's and, you know, the Lucas, that tier of player.
Definitely. Jhill, how you feeling about this D-Book performance out here, man?
Yeah, D-Book certainly let us down, John. And, you know, the thing is, I think it was a little premature of us to anoint D-Book as definitely the Kobe disciple, but just simply the fact that maybe he wasn't ready. Like Junior said, they had a lot of fortune going their way getting to the finals. And you kind of look back and think, was it the role players, or who was it really? Was it Chris Paul or was it Cameron Payne, you know, in the first round, and then moving forward, who was really getting it done. I felt like the role players and DeAndre Ayton were really helping, and maybe D Book was getting a lot of the credit, that more credit than he deserved at that point. But I mean, I think it's something that D Book has got to look back on, that going minus 15 in an elimination game. He has to look back at him and have that drive. We don't know the future of CP3 either, so that's kind of a question mark. But yeah, I mean, if you want to be a superstar, you can't have that performance in an elimination game. And that's the story. That's all I got to say about that D-Book performance. Let down to say the least. I did jump ship, but I had Giannis being the better player so at the end of the day. So that's unfortunate.
Wow, man.
And Jay in the chat room as well, he said, it's Booker's first finals and the nerves got to him. And that's fair, honestly. I mean, seeing a lot of great players go to the finals the first time and lose. I mean, I think LeBron went to the finals 2 times before he finally won one. So you see there's lots of great players that go through it. And, I'm sure – and D-Book's a worker. I'm sure he'll be back in the gym, first thing tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then, Friday or Thursday and pick it up and be back in there trying to improve, trying to make another run.
Yeah, man. I'm sure D-Book is gonna use this as fuel, man. I know people like how we said, we shouldn't have put him as the Kobe Bryant disciple, but people always try to make that analogy, and and Devin Booker, if he wants that to be true now more than ever, he needs to prove that. Kobe, more than anyone, would tell him, take that as motivation, work, and come back and come back the following year. I like to think back to that 2008 year that the Celtics beat the Lakers, and I don't know, Kobe said that was one of the worst losses that he's ever took, and he went home, worked on his game, came back and won that 2010 year, man. So Devin Booker's got to put that in his motivational bag.
Let me ask you guys something, and this goes for everybody out there in the green room chat as well. Jay and Dimitri, like, if you guys want to answer, please jump in. But what happens with Chris Paul now? Does he get a bag somewhere else? Does he get a bag with Phoenix? What's happening with him now? Did he earn it? I mean, he is 36, right?
Yeah. See, that's the problem. I mean, the way he played like he should get a bag. But then
did he though?
Yeah, to get them there, to even get the Suns to the finals, dog, that in itself deserves a bag. But what team is really going to take a risk on a 36-year-old, Chris Paul? I don't think that he can be this dominant for 2+ years. I don't think so. Jhill, how you feeling about this Chris Paul dilemma?
Yeah, absolutely not. I think they're going to sign him to maybe a 1 or 2 year deal, but I think he's definitely staying in Phoenix. Just the season they had, I think he's got to just consider running it back, because the grass won't always be greener, especially at his age. He's got to run it back in Phoenix. D-Book's hungry. That whole young squad's hungry. So I'm thinking he's staying for at least a year or 2.
So he's got a player option this year.
Mm-hmm.
To answer Jay's question, yes, if he's a free agent. So he's got a player option this year. He could be making $44 million next year if he opts into his player option.
Wow.
I don't know if he's going to get more than that anywhere else. That's the difficult part. Like, $44 million is quite a bit of money. Dimitri thinks he's going to get 3 years, $100 million. So, I mean, that's that's 33. That's $33 million a year. Yeah. I don't know if he's willing to take that pay cut, right?
Like, for him, that's a huge pay cut.
He'd have to opt out and imagine that he's going to sign something. Or, I guess that's a pay cut in a sense, but in another sense, he's guaranteeing 3 years as opposed to just having 1 more year, right? Jay thinks his body's gonna break down in the playoffs. So, I mean, I don't know. We saw him definitely deteriorate a little bit, and he does have that age behind him. But it's tough to say. It's tough to say. I just don't know who would be giving it to him.
So, guys, another negative thing that I wanted to talk about with the Suns, something that I noticed in the first half was that there was no Giannis. There was no Giannis wall, right? Like, I didn't really see the Suns setting that Giannis wall. As a matter of fact, at halftime, out of Giannis' 10 shots that he had, 9 of them were in the paint and 5 of them were in the restricted zone. So that means that Giannis was getting in there with no debate, man. And I think that, when you're going to play a team like the Bucks, that's one thing that you absolutely have to have. You have to have that Giannis wall, right? When you're playing a team like the Suns, something you absolutely have to have is you have to be able to guard the pick and roll, or be able to at least somewhat guard the pick and roll, man. And the Suns just were embarrassing out there in the paint, man. So is that something that you guys noticed as well? Or how did you guys feel about that Suns defense in the first half?
Yeah, they just had no answer all night, and it was their defense, yes, but I think just Giannis was playing at such a high level. His activity on the glass, there was really no stopping him. It didn't matter what kind of defense they threw at him, honestly. The only time that they really stopped him was when they obviously prayed for it, and Jeff Van Gundy said it was he settled for that mid-range shot. Other than that, going to the basket, no one's stopping him. And if he was, the good thing that the trend that he'd been following all series long and throughout as the playoffs progresses, if he didn't have anything at the rim, he was really, really making a concerted effort to get it to his teammates and creating more ball movement, which led to better shots as the series progressed. And I think that's why they were so successful as an offensive unit later in the series, and especially towards the end of game 5 and tonight as well. They continued that trend of moving the ball, and just it was either Giannis was getting his own or getting someone else. So unstoppable, really.
Man, Giannis really was just having a unstoppable performance. But something that I wanted to ask you guys about: how did you guys feel about Mikal Bridges' performance? Because we can't expect much from a role player, but then again, role players are huge in the NBA Finals. That they win you a lot of games in the finals when star players need that break. I personally was a bit disappointed. I'm expecting more than 7 points from Mikal Bridges when the games that we saw the Suns excel in, he had anywhere from 14 and up. So I'm expecting more from Mikal Bridges. How are you guys feeling about Mikal Bridges and his performance?
I think it's fair to expect more than 7 points, but at the same time, I'm not going to go ahead and place too much blame on him because he's a role player. You want your role players to come through, but at the same time, you cannot ever be leaning on your role players. If you lean on your role players, you're going to fall into a trap, and it's just going to be it's just going to be the world of hurt if you're expecting your role players to do what your superstars aren't doing, and that's what happened with the Suns tonight.
Definitely, Jhill, how you feeling about Mikal?
Yeah, Junior nailed it on the head. I mean, you don't rely on your role players, especially on the road. And if that's what they were doing, then, that's an L waiting to happen. You rely on Devin Booker, and he gave you 8 for 22. So yeah, you can't blame it on the role player.
Yeah, you really can. Big games like this, star players need to show up. So, guys, as we start to wrap up here, one of the last questions that I want to ask you guys regarding the Suns, and how much they really let down as a team, and especially Devin Booker. Jhill, you just mentioned Devin Booker going 8 for 22 from the field. Jalen Rose at halftime, he mentioned that Devin Booker was not being aggressive enough. So I was like, okay, let me look at the box score, and I saw that he only had 4 points, but he was 2 for 9. With Devin Booker being your best player, Jhill, you just talked about it in those games, in the game 6 and 7. You need your star player to get it done, man. And he clearly it clearly wasn't his day. It clearly wasn't going in. Would you like to see him shoot his way out of the slump, or what would you do? Because that is your best player. Because so if he gets going, you're in a very good shape. But if he keeps missing, he's shooting your whole team out of the game. So Jhill, how do you feel about Devin Booker? Would you like for him to be more aggressive, even if he's not having a good game?
Absolutely. It's closing time. It's an elimination game. He's your star player. We talked about him being the best player in the playoffs, let alone on his team. He's their go-to option. So you gotta live with D-Book taking his shots. trying to be aggressive, and you'll live with that all day. If you're Monty Williams, if you're the Suns, you have total confidence in D-Book taking his shots, even if they ain't going in. You're gonna live by that rather than what Jalen Rose said. Like you said, if he's not being aggressive, they're gonna lose regardless, because he can make the shot, but he can also get his teammates involved. But if he's not being aggressive, the defense is not going to respect it. They're just going to cover their own guys. So, yeah, you'll live with D-Book closing it out and missing or making.
And another thing too, like D-Book's a bucket. You know what I mean? Like, he's a bucket. Like, if he's not being aggressive, who is? Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, because then you run into the same problem that we just talked about, right? Then you're relying on your superstars to get you a point. Somebody needs to go out there and get those points. Who else but Devin Booker, right? Like, it has to be him. He's the one who, not only is he the best player, he can create the most shots on that team, right? So it has to be him. It has to be him.
Yeah, D-Book, I definitely agree. I definitely think that D-Book's got to do what it takes. If he's in a shooting slump, shoot your way out of it, man, because you're the star player. You're supposed to lead us to the promised land. And Jay here mentioned that it's hard for D-Book to be aggressive when Giannis is blocking everything. For real, Jay.
That is true.
For real, Jay.
Giannis wasn't getting it done. It's hard for anybody to be aggressive, but you just got to keep going. Like that's it's all about that persistence. That's what's going to separate the good from the great.
Man, definitely. So, all right, guys. So I think you guys know what time it is, baby. I mean, we talked about the Suns, we talked about the Bucks, and I think y'all know what time it is. It's time to get to the favorite segment on this pod, the closing segment called Guess the Player. Jhill right now is down 2-0. He's lost the last 2 weeks. So let's get it, baby. We have 3 players. Y'all know the rules. 3 players. And I will list a couple of their accomplishments, and then you guys have a guess. You guys have 2 guesses. You can blurt out all your guesses if you want, all at once. But if you blurt them out, then you smoke them. Y'all got the rules?
Okay. Yeah.
Get it.
Okay, let's do it. Hey, Jay, I know you're in the green room, Jay. If you hit the chat quick enough, I'll give you the point. I'll give you the point, Jay. All right, guys. So here we go. First player. Okay, he is a 10-time All-Star. He is a 1993 All-Star MVP. He's a 2-time. No.
Ooh, all right.
He's a 2-time NBA first team. He's a 9-time NBA assist leader.
John Stockton?
Yep.
Woo! My boy was ready.
Let's go.
There you go. We go.
Hey.
All right, let's go, Jhill. I see you, Jay.
Jhill came ready.
Okay. Jay said Charles Barkley. I like that. I like that.
That's a good guess.
That's a good guess.
I like that. Yeah.
I probably would have guessed that if I wouldn't have gotten that last week.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next player. He's an 8-time All-Star. He's a 2-time NBA first team. 6 all-time and made threes, but don't let that fool you. Are you ready for this last one?
Yeah.
He became very famously known in an event in the 2000s.
Vince Carter.
Yes.
Hey,
Jay got it too. Jay got it too.
Ready. Shout out Jay.
Shout out Jay. Shout out Jay. Okay, all right. Last player here, guys. He's a 4-time All-Star. He's a 3-time NBA assist leader. He became famous and most notoriously known on the Boston Celtics.
Rajon Rondo.
Oh, yeah. All right. That's all good.
That's all good.
That's all good.
There you go. Okay.
That's a good.
Jhill got himself a dub. Okay. I see you, man. Okay, that was very fun, man.
That was a fun one. Yeah,
that was a good one.
So, guys, man, as we wrap up here, any last words you guys want to say here for the fans, or anything you guys want to say here as the NBA season wraps up?
Season is done, but now it's off-season time, and looking forward to next season. That's what it is. Appreciate you all throughout the season. Appreciate Jay here copping on for the second pod in a row. Talking about Jay in the green room, Jhill too. But talking about Jay in the green room here, really appreciate him coming on here for the second pod in a row. And Scott Foster in Finals MVP. but no, just appreciate y'all. Excited for, just the off season and keep everything going. The off season.
Let's do it. Jhill.
Yeah, man. What can I say? It was an amazing amazing season, amazing finals. Shout out Jay in the chat. And I mean, I think it's going to be an even better season next year with everything kind of settled, fans back in the arena. I think it's just a taste. I think we got real good basketball in the future. I think the league's in good hands. So shout out Giannis's first and finals MVP, first championship, man. Good for him.
Good for Giannis, man. There you have it, though, man. Thank you, everybody that's tuned in, man, whether you're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, on Green Room, man. We appreciate all of you guys, man. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. It is at Clutch Talk 1. Get at us, man. We got episode updates and everything on there, man. Hey, the off season, we got a lot cooking up over here at Clutch Talk, man. So stay tuned. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And we out here, baby. Clutch Talk out.
Peace.